Webinar. So we are live. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us for this Tuesday morning for the ACA Small Business Bootcamp for this Tuesday, February 15th. I can't believe we're halfway through February, more than halfway through, and but we're excited to have you with us. I'm Robert Theobald, the Small Business Ombudsman and Vice President of Small Business Services here at the Arizona Commerce Authority. For those that are new to the boot camp, we like to start by first thanking all of our community partners. We could not do these boot camp sessions without them, without their time, their expertise. We are indeed very grateful for them and their support. Those not familiar with the Small Business Boot Camp, it is designed to help small businesses prepare, plan, and grow as we work through and come out of this COVID crisis. It is a statewide initiative supported by all those community partners. And it also, besides the Tuesday morning boot camps and the previous Tuesday, Thursday combination that we did, it is a content library. And we're going to talk about that here in a bit. And it's also access for 2022, we created a new part. So instead of doing the Tuesday, Thursday boot camps, we're just doing Tuesday mornings, but then about once a month, sometimes more often, sometimes less, depending on when they do it, we're going to partner with a number of our community partner organizations to share their workshop series. So it'll be the Small Business Bootcamp workshop series. And we're going to bring some great workshops to you throughout the year, in addition to our bootcamp webinars. So let's talk about the content library real quick. So since the beginning of the bootcamp series, we've recorded all of our webinars. And with that has created a diverse collection of over 200 plus recorded webinars and presentations that you can go back to anytime and review in our content library, these presentations. We also include any of the materials that the presenters had, their slide deck, in some cases workbooks and other things. And so on our website, where you go to register for the boot camps, at the bottom, you'll find our content library. And we've recently updated the website. So as you see on the screen, there are 7 different categories. You can view all the webinars at once, or you can sort by those different categories to find the information that's best going to help you with your business. So it's a great new feature on the website that we're really excited to have. Quickly, we like to share a couple websites that are still very relevant. The state has the COVID-19 information and resource website, ArizonaTogether.org. And then the Arizona Commerce Authority set up the COVID-19 Business Resources webpage. And on there, you can find business guidance, financial information, which is real important. On that financial information, we include loans, grants, financial incentives that help support businesses at the local, state, and federal levels. And we keep that updated as soon as a new community has a program that relates to that, we get that information updated on our website. So it's a great resource page to be aware of. The ACA also has a number of programs that help support small businesses. We have our Small Business Services, our Workforce Division, and our Arizona MEP, our Manufacturing Extension Partnership. Now, these programs are there to help small businesses. So if you're in need of any of these things noted on the slide, please feel to reach out to us and we can get you connected with any one of those groups and help support your growth. Another great program that we have is our ACA Small Business Checklist. And the checklist program is an online interactive checklist that helps identify the commonly requested licensing, registration, and compliance needs at the local, state, and federal level. If you're looking to start a business or grow into a new product line or new community, this checklist can help you identify those licenses and registration needs that you may have for that. You can also find some additional business planning and marketing resources and opportunities on there. The checklist in itself is like a big, giant smorgasbord buffet of information, But if you're looking for a quick kind of fast food drive-through option, we have our new chat bot, and you can see the little on the screen there, the little face down the corner. That is Sally, our virtual assistant. Sally stands for state and local licensing information. So feel free to check out our chat bot and see how that works and provide feedback. It's in the beta stage, so any feedback you provide is very helpful. And if you have questions as you're going through that chat bot, you can fill out the form directly there, and it will put you in contact with myself, Faith, or Cheryl on our team to help answer those questions. So let's talk about some updates real quick. We're going to post some links in the chat to these organizations and programs that can help you out. First, the Small Business Administration, the SBA, their website, sba.org or sba.gov is a great website. They have a lot of great business information on there, whether it's business planning or understanding SBA lending. There's all kinds of great information. So please be aware of that webpage. We're going to list some business support programs as well, SCORE, SBDC, and others. Quick reminder, if you got a PPP loan in 2021, there is a chance that that loan could be coming up for needing to get forgiveness for that loan. So please check those dates on your PPP loans and stay on top of that. We will be doing a boot camp here in a few weeks on PPP loan forgiveness to remind everybody how to do that and the process for those that did receive PPP loans in 2021. And another note is the Emerge AZ FAST grant. This may apply to some of you out there, so we'll post a link to get that information for that grant. Also want to make a note, it's not on here, but the Maricopa County Resilience Program is still open and available for those businesses in Maricopa County. It is it's actually a three-part program. There's a grant component and there's still funding available in the grant. There is a 1% interest to loan program that is still ongoing. And then there is also technical assistance for your business through that program as well. Local First and Prestamo CDFI are the organizations handling that program for Maricopa County. So with that, let's look at some of our upcoming sessions and workshops. Next week, we have Marketing 101, start 2022 off on the right foot. And then on Wednesday, the 23rd, we have our workshop, Accessing Capital for Small Business Growth. That is a joint partnership with ACA, Wells Fargo, the Phoenix Business Journal, and we have a few other panels coming on with that in legal and accounting, along with the SBDC will be part of that. So we're really excited about that workshop. It's from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Wednesday, the 23rd. And then Tuesday, March 1st, we have an update. Since we're still in tax season, we wanted to retouch on the employee retention credit. This is a credit that can provide significant funding for your business if you qualify, and a lot of businesses can qualify for this credit. It can be complicated, so we're going to spend this entire boot camp going through that program to help you out and identify how you may be able to work with your accountant to get that credit on your taxes as you file them this year. So with that, we're going to jump into today's session. We've got a great new presenter for the boot camp. He's not new to the ACA. We have Tim Manning, CEO and founder of GrowthShift. Tim works with our tech side, our innovation side of the business quite a bit with some of the tech startups. And we're excited to have him come on and present with us. I heard this presentation from him a couple of months ago, and I was incredibly impressed. I'm like, Tim, we gotta bring that on to the boot camp. It's perfect for our audience. So Tim agreed to come on and share his wisdom with us. So we're excited. Tim, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing and turn the time over to you. Let you get started. And we're going to have some interaction in this, so we can use the chat, we can use a Q&A. We're going to have some polls. It's going to be a fun session. So all yours.
Well, thanks, Robert. Thanks, Faith. Thanks to ACA, and good morning, everyone. Thanks for sharing part of your morning with us. I'm thrilled to be here. Have never spoken to the boot camp, audiences, and I'm passionate about sharing some things that I trust, hope will have you think. When we talk about early stage tech and having companies thrive and succeed, where I start is giving people an opportunity to think about their business. So that's what we're going to do today. This is an interactive session. I don't want this to be a one-way conversation. So we're going to have a few polls. Faith will intercede on those, get to know you a little better through those polls. And I do want to hear from you in the chat or through Q&A, because the value of this presentation depends on that interaction. So with that, let me jump in. And with any luck at all, we will have cooperation from our tech side of the presentation. A little bit about myself. I won't go through this, but to say family, fitness, and serving industry and my clients is how I'm wired. 30 years ago, as a finance trained individual contributor, I first encountered marketing. And why that was a key point in my career is because, and we're going to talk about this today, marketing, in my opinion, is magical in that you have an opportunity to connect with your customers and connect with them in a way that has you communicate why they should interact with you and or consume your services or products. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. And I'm hoping that this content will be useful in making that connection. So my presentation title was Marketing.
Oh, Tim, you froze up.
About in marketing.
Hey, Tim, you froze up for a second. If you could restart that slide again, you froze for much of it.
Okay, one moment, team. I hope that we have a stable internet. Okay, Robert, is that better? Can you see?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I was saying is we can talk about marketing at any level, tactical or strategic, but fundamentally, this is the premise we all care about. Marketing has to equal growth. And so I love to teach about marketing. I love to challenge the thinking around marketing and what we're doing, and does it facilitate growth? Otherwise, why? So I'd like to draw this connection for you today and frankly leave you with a notion of marketing that is less tactical and more strategic. Please, Robert, at any time, let me know if my internet is not stable. So I'm going to share a number with you that is more relevant to early stage tech, but I think it's a conversation we should have. It's a candid conversation about early stage business and the success or failure rate. A company, Cambridge Associates out of Boston, did a survey of venture-backed startups 90 through 2010, and this was the total number of startups they tracked. And their stats revealed that about 60% of them failed in the dot-com bust of 2000, over 80% failed. And current research would put failure rate around 90%. So I don't want to create a negative tone for this presentation, but I think it's a conversation we should all have. And if we do the math on 60, that's more than 16,000, 80 more than 21,000, and 90 more than 24,000 of this number were not successful. Why is that? Why is that? Well, I would attribute in part some of those failures to less effective marketing strategy. And that's my passion. And that's what I hope to leave you with today. And I hope that this conversation, now we can switch to a more positive conversation. But I did want to share this quote And I love reading and sharing information from giants in the industry. And Eric Ries is the author of Lean Startup. It's an excellent book, tech focused. I'm going to let you read this quote. I highlighted people here because this is about people. Business is about people. And we don't want to waste that precious resource. Our startup founders, our small business founders have an idea. Let's help them bring that to market. So I want to share a story with you from my career. And it is a story of David versus Goliath, and it really was a chess match. And I led marketing for a number of startups, and this was the one that was successful. And let me tell you about that company. It was Kaimetrics. I was in the chair as the head of marketing from inception through exit. And we had an idea. The idea was intelligent pricing to help drive more sales at the retail shelf, and yet at the same time create customer loyalty with those customers by providing pricing that was based on demand and created the notion of understanding customers. That's key to this. So it was a big idea. Most said we couldn't compete against Oracle, SAP, and IBM, and yet we did with a very small budget, and yet with effective marketing and consistent messaging. In 5 years from start, we were the big fish in a small pond for intelligent pricing. The category name was retail revenue management. We're going to talk about category today. But 5 years after we launched, Oracle and SAP went to war over this company, and we were sold at 10 times revenue. Now, why is that important to our discussion for Main Street? That was effective marketing strategy. I was privileged to be part of an organization that valued marketing, and we were able to do the right thing. We're going to talk about what that is. So let me share another quote from Mr. Ries. This is why I do what I do and why I changed from finance to marketing over 30 years ago. Small business and startups begin with the passion and the vision to change the world in some small way, locally, regionally, nationally, or internationally. That's a precious resource that we want to enable. With the Small Business Bootcamp, we want to enable you with the tools to be successful. So with this quote, I wanted to now switch the tone of the presentation to something more decidedly positive, so you felt uplifted and empowered to make decisions for your business. So I want to talk about marketing. Spent a lot of time thinking, using the tools, and teaching about marketing. Is that marketing complicated? Or is it that complicated? Is it tactical? Is it strategic? Or is it something, does it start with something more fundamental? And I'm going to suggest for your consideration that it is dramatically more fundamental than what we just looked at. And Mr. Drucker, an author that I love, said this. He wrote over 30 books, and it is more fundamental. And he said it begins with the customer. So we're going to talk a lot about customer today and why they hold potentially the key to unlock your business success.
Tim,
So
before
today,
we move on to customer, we do have a poll in order to gauge where our industries on the call are.
thank you, Paul, or thank you, Faith.
Not a problem.
Thank you, Paul. Sorry.
So
Awesome.
if those joining the call will go ahead and enter your response to today's poll, we will share that, so that way we all have a better understanding of who is participating in this call, and so you can better guide you through today's presentation.
So if I may just comment as you're answering this poll, I was talking with Faith and Robert this morning. You know, I teach about marketing, and I will teach you about how important your customer is. And this morning at 7:30, I thought, wow, I need to ask who it is our customer is for this content. So that's why this poll is important. This team wants to understand who you are and what business you are leading. So thank you. So consumer services, 34%, technology, 30%, retail, 18%, banking, 5%, arts, entertainment. Faith, can they see the results of this poll, or is that just me?
Yes, no, everyone can see the results.
Outstanding. Okay, thank you, everyone. And thank you, Faith. You have permission to interrupt me at any time in this presentation. So let's talk about positioning. It is a nuance within marketing strategy that is often misunderstood, but it is so vital as a thought process for how you think about your business. I'm going to give you a bunch of authors today, and I have at the end of our presentation a reading list I'm going to recommend. But these are all thought leaders of the last, frankly, 40 or 50 years. And I like to refer to the giants of the last 50 years when I think about and present and teach on marketing. This is what Mr. McKenna said about positioning. At the heart of every great strategy, marketing, is positioning. As I said, though, sadly, people want to jump to, well, how do I make money from my business, before they stop, hit the pause, and think about what it is that I do, how I serve, who I serve, and how I do that uniquely vis-a-vis the options that my customer has for the solution I offer. Those are the questions. So I like to hit the pause button here and say, I want you to think about position. I'm going to give you the tool set for how you break down positioning. And in early stage tech, my experience, more than 25 years, if companies fail to do this, the outcome is really, really bad. And it's always in the context of missing revenue and sales goals, not being effective in competing with others in your space, and so on and so on. So important that we talk about positioning this morning. So what is it? And what's interesting about this quote, and this is one of the books I'm going to recommend for your reading. It's a small read, a short read. But what it is fundamentally is not about your product, it's about your customer and what they think about your product. So what positioning really is how does your customer view your company and your solution in relation to the problem they need or want to solve, they need and want to solve. So a ladder, in this case, a staircase, is often used as a metaphor for how they think about the solutions available to them to solve the problem you say you solve. And there is a lot of neuroscience behind this, but customers fundamentally need an organizing system. If you think about your own life, there is so many options to everything you consume in your life. In your mind, you have a ladder. In that ladder, you have, well, here's my first choice for coffee. Here's my first choice for an automobile. Here's my first choice for coffee, and so on and so on, because we need to default to a system. So we have a system in our minds, whether we believe that or not, that we default to. So the study of positioning is helping your customers place you on that ladder. And you will see this in literature. So let's talk about some ladders. Where is Mercedes-Benz on their ladder? Think about Apple. Where are they on their ladder? Because lots of choices in computers. Think about Uber in ride sharing. Think about Salesforce customer relationship management. If you're in the MarTech world, think about marketing technology, specifically marketing automation. how many options are in that or on that ladder, and where are they on their respective ladder. So think about how customers have so many choices and how they decide who is number one on their ladder that they use. And are you even on their ladder? Do you even show up? And that's the matter of positioning. So how do we start the process of deciding how to position our product so the customer has a perception of you that is favorable? And it starts, and here's the great news, back to the customer. Your customer has in their mind who it is you are and what you stand for and why you're unique or different and why that's important to them. That's the key. So ask your customers that you interact with, that consume your services, whatever those are. Why did you purchase our product? What did you see that was different, special, unique about our product relative to other options? And those nuggets will hold the magic for how you define your unique, and you hear this a lot, value proposition, how your customers see you in relation to the other options. The second thing I'm recommending is study your competition. Whether you are landscaping a boutique coffee shop, whether you are small food services, restaurant, you have competition, and take a look at them. Look at what they offer. What's unique, different about them? Where are they strong? Where are they weak? Because that will help you shape how you define your positioning for the customer. Okay, thanks, Faith.
We do have another poll, so if everyone take a moment to complete that, and we'll get those results shared shortly.
So, Robert, Faith, are we holding questions to the end?
No, if questions come up, we can answer them in the middle, now during the topic, or at the end. We would ask that they use the Q&A for questions, and then we can use the chat for things. So while we have this poll up, I would ask that in the chat, if everybody would just, in the chat box, write down who your competitor is, who your main competitor is.
Yeah, please, everyone. My commitment, and Faith, Robert, same, is to have this be interactive. I don't want it to be a one-way speaking track. So please interrupt me with your questions, because the questions you have are the same questions that the other 58 people have, I would assert. Interesting, 62% say we know who our competitors are, and 38 said you're not sure how you're different. All there is here is, in this conversation, encouragement for you to trust yourself, to audit who it is you compete with. Trust yourself, because when consultants are hired to tell business owners something about their business, typically you already know what that is. So trust yourself, do the work, study your competition, and from that, shape why it is you are unique. I hope that helps you. Okay. Robert, I'm going to have you stop me at any point if there's a question in the Q&A panel that you want me to answer from our audience. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Very good. So why is, bear with me, I'm going to close the chat session. Why is positioning so important? Another book we're going to have you think about, it's not in my recommended reading list, but it is an important. Jeffrey Moore, a thought leader for, in fact, the man that wrote the playbook, in my opinion, on technology marketing, said this some 40 years ago, 30 years ago, that position is the single largest influence in the buying process. And the buying process, back to what we said earlier, relates to how they think about you and your solution. And is it unique? And is it appropriate to their the problem they're trying to solve, or we talked about what does your competitor say about the problem that they solve, and is yours unique to that? If and it's not, then you have ambiguity with the customer, and they struggle with decisions at the very basic level. So as business owners, business leaders, tech founders, our job is to help create a space in the customer's mind through this process we're talking about today that says, I'm an excellent choice, or in fact, the best choice to solve the problem you have. So this is a little more complicated aspect of positioning theory, positioning strategy, marketing strategy. But there are two aspects to positioning strategy. We talked about a ladder. A ladder is the stack rank or the prioritization of the solutions in a specific grouping. In technology, we call it a category, a solution category. If you think of customer relationship management, that's a category. If you think about ride sharing, that's a category. If you think about farm to table restaurants, that is a category. And customers, back to the organizing system point I made earlier, they need a category. If they go on Google and they go best farm to table restaurants near me, that's a category. And then you rank within the category. So I use the visual metaphor of a block to make it simple for people to understand. So you have a block or a group of solutions. We call it a category in tech. And then within that, you have a ladder, which is the organizing system within that category. And here's the profound truth. Customers need to have a label on the category of solutions you are positioned within to be effective in making decisions. And the point here is always, always to make it easy for customers to think about you and make decisions to buy or select you. So when you think about your business, if it's small business, mainstream, or tech, what is the category? Are you a boutique coffee shop? Are you farm to table? Are you an artist marketplace? Because you need to have a category and then help your customers prioritize you within that category. Okay, so it would be wrong not to be prescriptive in how you go about this. And again, I'm going to use Mr. Moore because he gave us a template that I've used in every one of my client engagements and in every one of my full-time assignments over the last 25 or 30 years. And this is the template he recommends, I recommend, for positioning and telling the story in as close to a one-liner as you can get. So we identify the 5 key elements to your unique value proposition. You serve a specific group of customers. Who are they? That is your target customer. What is the statement of need? That is the problem they need to solve with your solution. Name that after talking to your customers. Product name, you have that, but product category is important. And then the unique benefit you provide, that has them select you. And then we go further to say, unlike the competitors that compete for your wallet, our product is different as follows. Now, here's the great news. Talk to your customer and you will have insight to the statement of need and the benefit you provide. Study your competition and be real and be honest with yourself, because everyone has competition. They will help you identify, and with, of course, insights to your unique product offering, why you're unique and different. And with this, you have the beginning of an elevator pitch. We talk a lot about elevator pitches. We talk about one-liners. All that is within 1 or 2 statements, you communicate powerfully why a customer or a group of customers should select your solution. And the good news is you have control over that. Do not leave this to your customers. Do not leave this to your competitors. It is the work of the business owner, leader, tech founder to do this. Once you have it, test it with your customers and keep going back to the drawing board until you're comfortable and your customers go, I get it. It is you. And then train your employees. Put it on your website and train your market and your customers to think about you like that. And that will help you pull together positioning into a single statement. Let's talk about why. Oh, thanks, Faith. Appreciate that.
Not a problem. We have our last poll of this session. So we're looking for full participation. So please take some time to answer our last poll for today's session. Thank you.
Okay. Survey says, so awesome work, everyone. 65% say they have a one-liner, and there's a percentage that don't. Again, encourage you to develop your one-liner. Start with your customer and keep iterating on it till you and your customers are satisfied with that one-liner. And that will energize your employees. That will energize you. It will help align your business to your vision/mission. It's all good stuff. So do the work there. So we talk, go ahead.
Can we go back to your previous slide? I wanted to have everybody, and Tim and I had talked about this before, and he asked me to jump in if I needed to on this because he was getting in a roll. But let's take a break for just 1 second. And if everybody could jot down in the chat who your target customer is, and maybe even what the need or opportunity is for that customer that you're solving. Just go ahead and post that in the chat, and so we can see some of your responses there.
Thanks, Robert, for stopping me. I was on a roll and you got to stop me. Thank you. Retailers, interesting. Mindful, women over 50, foodies, bread makers.
I like that. Someone was very defined there. Leanne was, with 40 to 60-year-old females minding for.
So target customer, Amy, is what Robert's looking for, and the statement or need they have.
Yeah.
Subsea defense, brilliant, John. Payroll and bookkeeping. A lot of these target segments, target customer groups are so important, but so noisy, if I can use the word noisy to symbolize commoditized, or in other words, lots of competition, right? Lots of competition. So how do you thrive? You want to look again carefully underneath your one-liner, your target customer, your statement of need. Look at what they have as options, and then write it down. Write it down. Young mom, Georgina, young mom's looking for organic clothing for kids. Gosh, that's exciting. That's exciting. So what options do they have today for that? And there will be some name brands there. Look at the name brands and why, what they say. Youth between ages 14 and 20, Cupid. That's a challenging segment. Only because distracted, lots of social media there. Government, nonprofit, churches. Mark, awesome. A lot of segments there, Mark. Is there one that you can dominate? Governments, nonprofits, or churches? Which of those three, for example, could you start and grow your business from, and then expand to the other two segments? Just a thought. We talk about segmentation in marketing strategy. Business owners 35 to 65. Michelle, I know you have more underneath that. What you do uniquely to that segment, pretty broad demographic. Think about what it is they have as options. Again, the stuff we're talking about, team, this morning, we don't want it to be hard. Marketing advisors, consultants don't want it to be hard. We want it to be instructional. Look to your customers, look to your competitors, and then define how you can uniquely serve your target audience. This has been awesome. Thank you for that chat. Okay. Thank you, Robert, for stopping the train. Why bother with positioning? Well, pretty important stuff, team. Positioning, as we talked about, I hope I've communicated what it is. And it's not mysterious, right? It's not mysterious. But if we overlook it, if we step over it, because we want to launch a social media campaign, or we want to put up a storefront, or we want to introduce a brand new product they've never seen before, if we step over the fundamental aspect of strategy we're talking about here, there is risk. We bother with positioning because of growth. We want to grow. We want to increase revenue. For those that are raising capital, we want to be able to raise it faster. We want to beat our competition and carve out a niche wherein we can be successful. And here's a big one. We talk about this a lot in technology because the talent pool isn't as big as we would hope. Attracting key and retaining key talent, if they are clear that the business leader has a specific positioning that serves a market that is sufficiently large to grow a respectable business, your employees, current and prospective employees, future, will be interested in that. If there's less focus to the enterprise, its mission, its target customer, and the benefit you provide uniquely, if there's less focus there, it's the same problem for employees. They go, we don't know what they stand for, because when they select a company to work for, they also have an organizing system. So think about that as it pertains how you grow your employee base. So a case study. I wanted to talk about a case study that's relevant probably to everyone on this call. And let me begin with this. So if you wanted to open a coffee shop anywhere in the Metro Phoenix area, or any large metro for that matter, it doesn't matter where you open that coffee shop, within a 2-mile radius, there's probably 3 Starbucks or more. Where I live in Cave Creek, there's 5 within a 5-mile radius, 5. So how did Dutch Brothers become so successful? Because in 2020, their revenues exceeded $300 million with 400 coffee shops. About half of them company owned, about half of them franchise. I'm going to propose the following. And if you do, if you like Dutch Bros, as my family does, there is a very clear distinction, and it is the customer experience and customer service. That's how they broke away from Starbucks. Starbucks, tremendous, love Starbucks. But when I drive through the Dutch Brother near me, the experience I have when one of their employees walks to my car and engages me, passionate about their service, their product, and has me enjoy that experience, now I have a value proposition that's unique. If you go to their marketing strategy document, it actually says this. So, but I wanted to talk from my perspective, but the strategy document says this: we may be a coffee company, but we are in the relationship business. Goes further to say, we are committed to providing the best experience possible and positively interacting with every customer. So for your point of view, is that your experience? It certainly is mine. So I hope this case study gives you a little bit of insight to what I'm looking for or asking you to look for in your business. So think about the business you're in, differentiate with respect to your competitors on a value proposition, service, product that is important to your customers. Okay, so I want to close with this quote. Seth is one of my favorite marketing writers, one of the most prolific in the industry. And this is why I got into marketing. With all due respect to the financial subject matter that I was trained in, this is why I got into marketing. And this is where the magic lies, in helping you define your business and how you can thrive. Recommended reading list. I added this morning. Most of these are quick reads. The first three are solid reads for marketing. I love Don Miller's book, Building a Story Brand. It helps you think about how you tell your story and your messaging that contributes to that story. Marty is probably one of the most succinct authors on the subject of brand. You will love this book. And this is Positioning by L. Reese Jack Trout, is the seminal piece on the positioning strategy, the content that I presented today. I really hope those have some value to you. I started this business, GrowthShift, with the following premise: if I can help you shift your thinking, I can help you shift growth. So with this morning's content, think about your business, think about your customers, think about who you compete with and how you're different. And that will hold some keys to unlocking and shifting growth for your company. It has been a pleasure. Thank you so much. We're going to open it up for Q&A at this time.
Yeah, so post your questions in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. We do have one question in there. I'm going to rephrase it just a little bit, but Tim, what are good questions to ask customers to learn more about them?
Oh, great. Love that. So presuming they have, they know of your service and they've either consumed or bought your service or product, ask them specifically, what was interesting or unique with my solution that had you choose us? What was unique? And what was the problem? You know, and be transparent, humble. And, you know, we have a version of the problem we're trying to solve with our product/service, but what problem were you trying to solve with our solution? And these are your closer customers. These are, because you don't want to have that question appear odd, because I don't want you to feel in a position that you can't speak candidly with customers. They want a candid conversation with you. So those two questions I would start with. They want to be your better customers, those that have bought your service, believe in what you have, and they'll speak honestly with you. Unless I'm wrong, and it's been 30 years of my life, you will have insights through those dialogues that will be refreshing and fascinating and instructional for your growth plans.
Tim, I've heard some people say that I don't have a competitor. They have a new idea or a new way of doing things. How do you respond to business owners that are starting up when they say they don't have a competitor?
Well, here's an interesting thought. In tech, Microsoft Excel is a competitor to any solution that presumes to organize information. You wouldn't think that, would you? If you're selling a solution that helps organize data, for example, you would say, no, my AI-based solution for organizing big data is, I have no competition. The truth is you do have competition. And here's where I would start. How do they solve the problem that you purport to solve today? Because if they consume your service or your product, they had in their minds a way to solve that previously. How did they solve that? Did they do that on their own? Did they, how did they solve it with what was available before you innovated with your service or product? And they are a competitor, whether that's an in-house solution, whether that is something they have to cobble together on their own. You want to compare yourself to that, because that's how they think about your problem, the problem you solve. And so everyone has competitors. Every solution has competitors. I just recently finished work for a gentleman, a business owner, leader, that said, no, we don't have any competition. Well, candidly, I found 3 competitors on my own in his city. And then that was local / regional. And then nationally, I found another 8 or 10 or 12. That's just on some preliminary analysis alone. Everyone has competition, whether it's, like I said, an in-house solution or something they do in their home. Think about that. Think about back to the customer. Think about how they solve the problem you purport to solve. And that will give you insight to who and what it is you compete with.
We have a question from Cathy in here. It says, I have a new competitor that is copying my words verbatim. How to differentiate myself when someone is exactly copying my words or copying your business?
Cathy, can you type what it is your business focus is? What is your service or product? You don't have to name your company. I'm interested in knowing what the business is. Okay, so yeah, complicated, right? So you should be flattered because they mimicked what it is you've said about your business. So then I want you to look internally, what it is that you have that's unique. Because when a new competitor enters a market, we have to then look internally. Why is my solution different? How is it different? And if there's underlying elements to your product or service that is different, that holds insight for you. Furthermore, I'm going to advise you to go back to your customer, and without naming your competitor to the customer, I want you to do the same discovery we talked about earlier on this call and ask them, what was unique enough about my solution that had you interested in our service? It's complicated, Cathy, when they have mimicked what it is you say. I'm not a proponent of negative marketing. Negative marketing is to speak unkindly of competition. I'm not a proponent of speaking unkindly of competition. In fact, quite the contrary. Look at them carefully, and the narrative could literally be something as follows. They have a good solution, but here's how I'm different. Here's how we're different. And here's how we serve our customers uniquely and why that's important to you. And then you have to speak in terms of the benefits to their business. And that insight lives within the customer's mind and the customer's language. I hope that helps.
Tim, we got one last question I think we'll be able to hit on before we wrap up. And Rose asked this. It says, on social media like Instagram, should you mainly advertise your product, or should you also be personable and post personal pics with your product in addition to focusing on your products?
Oh, I love that question. And so, Rose, speaking candidly, I'm an old guy, right? So I didn't come up through social media as a primary tool within the toolkit. But here's where I would direct you on this matter. The level of noise you have in social media has never been higher. And it cannot be exclusively a product discussion. My opinion on the matter is, and I hope you read Marty's book called The Brand Flip. You and every business owner needs to connect with your customers. And so you need to explore how you make that connection. And it's not product service exclusive. It is, what's the personality, Rose, of you and the personality of your business. And then behind that, secondarily, the service that aligns with you and your passion and your vision for this business and how it serves and benefits your customers. Because fundamentally today, the power of branding has shifted to the customer. And here it is in social media, right? Connect with them at an emotional level, Rose, and that includes more than product service. It includes you, your personalities, your beliefs, and that will increase the probability of connecting with your customers. I hope that helps.
And Tim, to add to that, Rose, it's really important when you go through that one-liner that Tim talked about earlier, and your target market is knowing which social media platform your target customer is on, because there's different target markets depending on, you know, who your customer is, if they're on Facebook, Instagram, you know, TikTok, etc. And so you don't want to be spending all your time on Instagram if your target customer is on Facebook, and vice versa. So
excellent point, Robert.
It's very good to know which social media avenue is where your target market is, because you can spend a lot of time on social media trying to hit all the platforms, and you'll spend more time there than in the right areas. So you got to be real careful with that.
Robert, if I can add, it's an excellent point you make. If I can add, Rose, for your benefit and everyone's benefit, marketing is, we make it a lot harder than it actually is, right? Here's a question. I've been asked so many times in the last 40 years, marketing has changed. Well, marketing hasn't changed, right? Fundamentally, you need to connect with your customers. You need to provide a solution they value to the problem they need to solve. The tool set has changed. Social media, right? And email marketing, less effective, right? A variety of tools and their effectiveness have changed. But here's the answer that you would need to look for. Where, to Robert's point, do your target customers consume information about your solution? And what channels do they rely on to build confidence for the solutions to the problem you solve? And if you answer that, reverse engineer, does social media, does Instagram play a role? Here's what you do with that. Ask your customers, where do you learn about solutions like this? And what channels, marketing channels, create the most confidence for you in making decisions to buy these products, solutions, services? Again, back to the customer. Nice job, Robert. Love that question. Love that comment.
All right, excellent. Perfect. That puts us right at time. So we want to thank everybody for being here with us. We definitely want to thank Tim for sharing his expertise and his knowledge in this presentation. Thank you very much, Tim. With
My
that,
pleasure.
we hope everybody has a great day today and a great week. And we look forward to having you join us next Tuesday morning, 9 a.m. for next week's boot camp. Until then, again, have a great day, enjoy the great weather, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thanks all. Appreciate your time.